Freedom. Freedom is important to all of us, and we talk about that a lot in Texas, especially among the homeschool community. And as I record this, we're preparing to celebrate July 4th, Independence Day. We've just been celebrating with our Black friends Emancipation Day. And I think it is interesting, we live in the greatest state in the United States and the greatest country in the world, but we're not perfect. And so as we've remembered June 19th, or Juneteenth, 1865, General Granger read the Emancipation Proclamation in Galveston, Texas, and he announced that all the slaves in Texas were henceforth free. So that is a day that's been celebrated by Black Texans and now Black Americans for many years. In fact, 1866, the very next year, was the first year the Black Texans across the state celebrated Emancipation Day. And after that, that became a thing. So for almost 100 years, Blacks across Texas celebrated Juneteenth. They even bought property in Houston, Emancipation Park in Austin, and Booker T. Washington Park in Mejia, Texas. So it became a celebration across the state of Texas for almost 100 years before the state of Texas actually celebrated this or recognized this as a statewide holiday in 1980. And according to the Texas State Library and Archives Commission, other states surrounding Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, began to celebrate this event as what blacks in those states began to celebrate. And even in Florida, Louisiana, and California, and Alabama as well. So that kind of reminds me, as we celebrate July 4th today, we celebrate freedom. And the interesting thing about that is we think about homeschooling. People often say that Texas is one of the greatest places in the country to homeschool, and I hear about people all the time coming to Texas because of our freedom. But the reality is, in the early 80s, it was not that way. As I've often said, homeschoolers were prosecuted. It was difficult. We had to work hard and long for that freedom. So does that mean that Texas is not a good place? Well, it was a good place to be. It wasn't a good place to homeschool. So today we celebrate freedom. We celebrate the Independence Day of our country, just as we have celebrated with our Black friends Emancipation Day on Juneteenth. And the interesting thing is, I think back about that in the 80s and 90s, there were really a small number of Black homeschool families. And as I talked to a lot of these people, they said, Blacks work so hard to get into our society and have the freedom, they really hesitate to homeschool. And that all changed dramatically during the pandemic. And studies show that the rate of people beginning to homeschool was 4 times greater among Black families during the pandemic than any other group. And that's while homeschooling was still growing among whites and other demographics as well. So freedom is important. Freedom is important for us as parents. It's important for us as Texans. It's important for us as Blacks. And I hope you'll click on the links below for more information. And thank you for helping us keep freedom for Texas families.